Same box, 2 freight forwarders. Same week, 1 kilo to the US, $53 by sea, $78 by air. Air is less than 50% more, and it saves you 3 weeks. At that price, air looks almost free. Now make it 100 kilos. Sea drops to about $3.50 a kilo. Air is 12. Air is now 3.4 times the price. Same 2 options, same 2 companies. The only thing that changed is weight. This spring I priced this out myself. 4 forwarders, 1 at a time, asking the same questions. The quotes come back as a wall of numbers, and none of them explain why the number moves like that. Today, where a shipping quote actually comes from, the one divisor nobody mentions, and what the quote doesn't tell you until something goes wrong. Before comparing sea and air, look at something stranger. 1 forwarder, 1 air service, 1 price list. At 1 kilo, you're paying about $46 per kilo. At 21 kilos and up, the same service is $12. Same company, same plane, same door, nearly 4 times the difference per kilo. That gap isn't a discount for being a bigger customer. It's arithmetic, and it's the same arithmetic as last week. Somebody has to file the customs paperwork. Somebody drives to the factory and picks the shipment up. Somebody hands it to a domestic carrier at the other end. Those steps cost the same whether the shipment is 1 kilo or 100. So there's a fixed cost sitting at the front of your shipment. The only question is how many kilos it gets divided by before it disappears into the per kilo price. At 1 kilo, that fixed cost is the price. At 100 kilos, it's rounding. And here's the part that matters later. That fixed cost is roughly the same whether the box goes on a ship or a plane. The customs filing doesn't get cheaper because the box floats. The driver doesn't charge less for a slower shipment. 2 very different transport methods, carrying 2 nearly identical overheads, which means a freight rate card isn't a price list. It's an amortization table. The rate doesn't drop because you negotiated. It drops because the denominator grew. And once you see that, the sea versus air question stops being about speed. Here's what falls out of that. Both routes are carrying a fixed cost, and those fixed costs are roughly the same size. The paperwork doesn't get cheaper because the box went on a boat. So at the light end, both prices are dominated by that fixed cost, and they end up close together. $53 against $78. $25 buys you 25 days, about $1 a day. At the heavy end, the fixed cost has been divided away. What's left is the actual cost of moving weight across an ocean. And there, sea and air were never close, $3.50 against $12. So the useful question was, never how urgent is this? It's how heavy is this? Under 20 kilos or so. Air is close enough that speed is usually worth it. You're paying a small premium on top of a cost you'd pay either way. Over 100, you're paying full freight for weight, 3 times over, and it has to earn that. The middle is where you actually have to do the math. 20 to 100 kilos is the range you're most likely to be in as a small importer, and it's the one range where no rule of thumb works. At 30 kilos, the premium might be worth 3 weeks of cash flow. At 80, it usually isn't. Same product, different answer. You have to run both. And notice what this does to a common piece of advice. Air for samples, sea for production. Sounds like a rule about urgency. It isn't. It's a rule about weight that happens to correlate with urgency. There's one more number on the quote, and no one volunteers an explanation for it. Your box has a volume. Length times width times height. That number gets divided by a divisor, and the result is called volumetric weight. The carrier then bills you on whichever is larger, what the box actually weighs or what its volume says it should weigh. Say your carton is 60 by 40 by 50 centimeters. Multiply that out and you get 120,000. Divide by the sea divisor, 6,000, and you get 20 kilos. Divide by the air divisor, 5,000, and you get 24. The divisor for sea was 6,000. For air, 5,000. Same box. Air bills it about 20% heavier. Not because it weighs more in the sky, because the divisor is smaller. Which means if your product is light and bulky, cushions, foam, hollow plastic, You're not paying to ship your goods, you're paying to ship air, and the lighter and bulkier it is, the more of your freight bill is air. This is also why two quotes can't be compared side by side. Different divisors and different minimums. One forwarder started billing at 12 kilos, another at 21. Below that line, you don't pay less, you pay the minimum. So, a shipment of 8 kilos and a shipment of 12 can cost exactly the same. If you're near a threshold, the cheapest thing you can do is send more. Now, the two things a quote doesn't show you until something goes wrong. First, if the shipment is lost or seized, you get the freight refunded plus compensation by weight, about $5.50 a kilo at the exchange rate back then. Read that again, by weight, not by value. A 10-kilo box of goods worth $700 gets lost, and you are made whole for about $55. The freight company insured the box. Nobody insured what was in it. Second, if your customer refuses delivery, the goods are destroyed. No return, no compensation. That isn't one company being harsh. I got the same answer more than once. Return shipping on a cross-border parcel usually costs more than the parcel is worth, so nobody offers it. And the four quotes didn't line up on this either. One offered door-to-door with duties included and no remote area surcharge. Another wouldn't quote at all until I gave them a US address and a material safety sheet. Same lane, same week, but one was selling a parcel service and the other was selling a compliance service, and the prices weren't measuring the same thing. Put those together, and the cheap route carries the bigger exposure. 25 days at sea is 25 days of things that can go wrong, and every one of them lands you on that $5 a kilo table. So when you compare quotes, you're not just comparing price against speed. You're comparing how long your money is sitting inside somebody else's system, uninsured. So a rate card isn't a price list, it's an amortization table with a risk table stapled to the back. The three questions that actually decide it. How heavy is it? What divisor are they using? And what do they owe me if it disappears? Answer those three, and the sea or air argument settles itself, usually without anyone having to be urgent about anything. Next week, the box lands and the arithmetic doesn't stop at the dock. If you want the real economics behind the things on your shelf, subscribe. I'm here every week.